Hello guys, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. Today I want to showcase a really fun arena cleave setup using Yelly and Raymary. The interesting part about this comp is that it's not the typical Raymary build most players are running right now. Instead of the standard bruiser setup, I'm using a full DPS Raymary, and the goal is to abuse the Tiger Yin shell effect to push her damage as high as possible. When everything lines up correctly, the chain of AoE damage this team can create is honestly pretty insane. To understand why this works, we need to start with Yelly, because she's one of the main engines of the combo. Yelly's kit revolves around critical hits, triggering follow-up attacks. When she uses her skills and lands crits, her passive gives her a chance to immediately fire off her basic attack as a follow-up. Those follow-ups can actually chain multiple times in the same turn, although the chance decreases each time it triggers. On top of that, her AoE skill hits all enemies multiple times and can apply defense down, while also giving herself a crit rate buff. So when Yelly opens the fight, you're often getting several hits across the enemy team, potential defense breaks, and additional follow-up attacks if the passive procs. All of those hits are extremely important because they help build momentum for Raymary. Now, let's talk about Raymary because she's where the real damage explosion happens. Raymary's passive revolves around building stacks whenever units take damage. As those stacks accumulate, she eventually reaches a threshold that automatically triggers her AoE attack. The more hits happening in the fight, the faster she reaches that threshold. And there's an even more important mechanic. When any unit dies, Raymary immediately reaches max stacks and fires off her AoE again. That means if the first wave of damage kills someone, she can instantly follow up with another AoE, which can cause another kill, which can trigger yet another AoE. This is where the cleave starts to snowball. Because of that mechanic, I decided to build Raymary as a full DPS unit instead of a bruiser. The bruiser build is definitely strong for sustained fights, but for this strategy, the goal is to maximize the damage from those passive AoE triggers. That's also why I'm using the Tiger Yin shell. The shell adds additional offensive value and helps push Raymary's burst high enough so that when her passive activates, it can actually finish off enemies instead of just weakening them. Once that first kill happens, the entire chain reaction becomes much more likely. One very important requirement for this setup is speed. Your team needs to move before the enemy team so that you can establish the cleave before they have a chance to interrupt you. If the enemy cuts into the turn order, applies crowd control, or disrupts your opener, the whole combo can fall apart. So proper speed tuning across your opener, Yelly, and Raymary is extremely important if you want the strategy to work consistently. There's also some RNG involved, which is worth mentioning. Because this setup relies on follow-up attacks, passive triggers, and damage thresholds, sometimes things simply won't line up perfectly. There's also always a chance that an enemy counterattack or defensive effect triggers and interferes with the cleave. But when the RNG goes your way and everything procs correctly, the amount of damage flying around can wipe teams extremely quickly. Another nice thing about this setup is that the opener slot is pretty flexible. You can switch around your openers depending on the matchup and your available roster. You can also run your own Amelia as a cleave support, which can help set up the turn order or add even more damage pressure to help the chain reaction start. Overall, this Yelly and Raymary arena cleave is a really fun setup that focuses on speed, burst damage, and abusing Raymary's passive chain reactions. It's not completely consistent because of the RNG elements, but when everything lines up, it creates some really satisfying wipes. I hope this video gives you an idea on how to have fun with Yelly in current meta. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.